Hi everyone. The place. The place is really important, in the one of the important key element of the marketing mix. Because when you're doing a business, place is really important to understand. Place means sometimes people call this a distribution. No, place is anything they know that how you connect to your customer, how you connect to your consumer. So here, this lesson, you are going to understand that all of the distribution channels, and then understand the different methods of distribution, and then understand the role played by the e-commerce. So these things we are going to uh, explain in this lesson, mainly the distribution channels, what are the main method that we can reach to our customer, and then different methods of distribution like like normal traditional methods, as well as talk about the e-commerce, even internet methods, also online distribution, online orders and everything, right? So here, marketing in the marketing mix, place mix plays a huge role in our uh, business. So really, this because the case study Unilever, this Unilever is a very old, one of the biggest multinational company in the world, and then they are selling around 400 different brands of food and beverages, cleaning agents, like Flora products and everything, and personal care products like Lifebuoy and Sunsilk, Lux, so like a brand, no? So detergent brands like Rinso, Surf Excel, so many things, right? So mainly the annual sales revenue is 53,300 million euro. The product has sold in the outlets as possible. Unilever has its own sales force, but it's used to independent brokers, agent, distributor. You can see they are selling all around the world, but using their different technique of distribution. You can see using independent brokers, agents, distributors, using chain stores, wholesalers, cooperatives, independents, like supermarkets, food and service distributors, institutions. So you can see their distribution channel is a really good example. Understand how these products they produce in all over the world, they're distributed doorstep. Right. So here, what is meant by distribution? Distribution means the process of reaching to our customers, distribution of goods and services to the customer. So customer means a person who purchased the goods and services by giving a value. So in this case, the methods of distribution, Unilever, they are talking about the wholesalers, retailers, agents, independent agents, institutions, so many, right? There are so many distribution. I think everything they are using. The name Unilever is the biggest multinational, and they have 400 brands they have, right? And discuss one reason Unilever approaches distribution, because mainly they are selling fast-moving consumer goods. You can see from the food and beverages, and also the detergents and like soap and all that thing, and also like mainly so fast-moving consumer goods. So supermarket to retailers to agents, most like a small shops. So this is really important to distribute using different channels of distribution. That's why, because they have to cover the entire population, so they have to use everything as possible as they can to reach the customer doorstep. So in groups, right? So mainly different types of outlets. Magnum ice cream might be purchased. Like ice cream, normally, the we can't, we can, normally that's also like a fast-moving consumer goods. We can buy from supermarkets, retailers. Sometimes those companies providing their own refrigerator facilities for those shops. If the electricity, you can fix it, and then you can sell those products. So like that, and also some like particular agents or the independent agents, you can see sometimes they are moving in the streets with the music of ice cream lorry or a small van or a small cart. So this is where you can see the ice cream. Like that's also another convenient good that we can purchase anywhere, like normal, like newspapers. Okay, what is place? So place, perfect definition is there. Place is one of the four P's in the marketing mix, and it's referred to mainly the location. So today, so we are going to find out what is the importance of this place mix and the distribution channels, different type of intermediaries, distribution channels, and online distribution methods, e-commerce also we are going to discuss today. So there we discuss mainly it's a mainly process of refers to the location where people buy the product. So distribution channel definition is there here. It's a route taken by a product from the producer to the customer. So distribution channel, sometimes we can ask, okay, define the term distribution channel. distribution channel is a route taken by a product from the producer to the customer, right? So there are key terms are there in a distribution channel. There are intermediaries and there are different intermediaries between this process. You can see through the producer to the consumer, reaching this product, good or service to the consumer. There are different intermediaries are there, middlemen in between this producer and the consumer. Some products they don't need an intermediary or middleman; they can directly access to the consumer. For example, the products such as some fishermen, they catch fish, or sometimes people who sell curd, some people who actually like small, like flower shops. They are same thing, like they are producing and they are selling. So sometimes they are not using any middleman. They are still directly exporting or directly they are producing, then they are directly giving to the market. There are some particular example like that. And sometimes they are giving through retailers because it takes some time. Sometimes some items are, especially these the direct method we are using for the non-durable items, which we can't actually keep for a long time. But we are using middlemen such as retailers, wholesalers, right, agents. In case of we can keep the goods for a little while, like vehicles, you can see car. So we are producer, so sell to the agent and agent to the vehicle and car sales, and then the consumers. Sometimes through agents, sometimes through wholesalers, like paddy. Vegetables wholesalers, then PETA and everything, Sri Lanka, Colombo, there are big warehouse markets are there, big wholesale markets. The producers sending their items in the morning to the wholesaler shops, and then to wholesalers they are selling to the retailers by keeping a small profit margin, and then from retailers consumers go and buy. So like that, these are the channel of distribution you can see here from this diagram. Okay, now we're talking about the retailing. So it's one by one, we're talk about what is retailing, what is wholesaling, and everything. So retailing means the definition is there, a business that buy goods from manufacturer and wholesalers, right? So the retailers business buy goods from directly from manufacturers and sometimes from wholesalers, and they call retailers, and sell them in smaller quantities to consumers. So always consumers go and ask, okay, give me one item, give me one toothpaste, give me like 1 kilo of rice, give me one packet of biscuit, like that. So retailers selling always in a small quantities to consumers, because consumers they don't need big items. For example, no one wants to actually purchase at bulk, like give me box of toothpaste, give me box of soap. No. So a lot of household we are purchasing the small quantity. Sometimes one toothpaste, sometimes it can be like a 2 or 3 or 10 soaps. So the retailer's job is to actually call bulk breaking the bulk and give it to the small quantities to consumers as their requirement. For example, some people ask 1 kilo, some people asking 500 grams, like this small quantities. But when you deal with the wholesalers, they are always talking with the number like bulk items, like a 50 kilos, 200 kilos, 100 kilos of rice, like that. Or boxes of toothpaste, boxes of soap, dozens of like big numbers they are dealing with the wholesalers, but retailers dealing with the small quantities. So definitely you can see the retailers provide manufacturers and other sellers with some extra key services. You can see they buy large quantities from manufacturers and they wholesalers, and then sell small quantities to customers. And this is called the bulk breaking. As I told you, the bulk breaking process, the definition of bulk breaking, dividing a large quantity of goods received from a supplier before selling them on smaller quantities to customers. So these definitions, right, you have to memorize sometime, because it can come for a outline question or a defined question. Define the term bulk breaking, define the term retailer, define the term intermediary, define the term wholesaler, define the term distribution channel, like that. So this always the subject vocabulary thing, right? Please study these things and like memorize. You can have like a like a glossary book every lesson, after every lesson, so you can have your own short note and you can find out how many new words today we learn, and then daily basis you can collect those words and you can memorize, keep memorizing. Then because it comes to closer to the examination, these things actually will not forget for you. That's the thing. So basically That's the main definition of coming from this marketing place mix, distribution channel, intermediary, wholesalers, retailers, bulk breaking, and everything. So one of the main important thing of the they are doing from the retailers, they bulk buy large quantities and then doing the bulk breaking, and then sell small. They are selling locations that are convenient to customers. Most supermarkets, example, convenient located to have goods like a ample parking slots. Ne? So you can see everywhere. I think that's normally when you're designing a supermarket location, that's how they do. Most of the locations in supermarket, they design with the ample parking slots where a lot of customers can reach and park their vehicle and go inside and buy. So that's how they normally they're giving, because most lot of customers, they have their own vehicle. So when you're doing shopping, so it's for them it's very convenient them to go with their vehicle and park it and buy like a large quantities, and then in the cart you can come and again unload the good that you purchase, and then you can nicely you can go home like that. That's facilities are there. And also the another thing they're doing is they add value to the products by providing other services, like you can see retailers they normally include like helping with the packing, delivery, repair services, ne? Information about products, and guarantee like a gift wrapping and everything. If you go to Apico and see like how what kind of things they are doing, that this is really important that you know. Right. So these are the things that the retailers normally do: bulk breaking and then selling convenient locations and then adding value to the product, like packing, delivering, repair services. Sometimes installation. It can be gift wrapping, everything for that, giving warranties, repair services, and everything. These are the retailers' main job. And after retailer, there are some other like middlemen are there. So this business can choose from among different retailers when selling their products. Main features of common retailers are outlined below. Independent retailer. It's the retailer. These tend to be relatively small outlets, although there are exceptions. Examples include newsagents uh, and the stores. And then you can see the general stores, greengrocers, delicateness, and the specialists, such as those selling bicycles, jewelry, or toys, and everything. So these are the good examples of them. Right. So independent retailers are mainly small outlets, right? They are independent. They have like a one sole ownership, and then they are not linked with another anyone. So good example is general stores and news agents, jewelry shops. And these are good example of that, selling by people who are selling bicycles and jewelries or toys. You can see the independent one because they are not connected with other. They are only like have one shop, one and only one, not two maximum. With small shops, we have like a sole ownership, and then they are doing business alone, independent retailers. Next type of retailer is a supermarket retailer. Supermarkets are usually large. They are selling, their main the shopping area is large comparative to the independent shops. Supermarket shops like mainly like it's like you can see 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, sometimes bigger than the small shop. So supermarkets are normally every country. You can see the supermarket concept is there in the world. Actually, supermarket concept was normally initiated by the during the that about 1970s. This was came in about famous supermarket chain, the Walmart was pioneered there. So by using Sam Walton, everyone call him Uncle Sam's, right? So he was a veteran, after Second World War. He found out like people need some kind of a convenient way of shopping. So because a lot of people they go to shops and asking from the directly from the owner, okay, give me that, give me this, give me this, I want this, I want that, like that. But he found out, no, if we give a chance for them to use some cart or something, and they can buy all the item they can, and they can pay everything like in the exit point with the counter with the cashier, it will be more convenient. So this concept was developed, and now is a but like a biggest supermarket chain in the world. More than 7,000 supermarket outlets are there all over the world. So every country there are certain supermarket, Tesco, Asda, Aldi, Lidl, and the Sri Lankan and every countries you can see the Kills supermarkets, Food Cities, Cargill supermarkets, and the Glowmark supermarkets. and so many supermarket chains are coming. So like that, so they are selling sometimes more than 20,000 products lines, including grocers, fresh food, greeting cards, fish, meat, electrical appliances, stationery items and household goods, everything at one place. So it's cheaper sometimes than independents, but normally they are not that much because they're generous because they have different techniques they are using. They are more organized. That's the thing. Than the independent, they are more organized because every customer they are giving some loyalty card because they have the database of their customers. So they can have a recording of all the customers, but their telephone number, so they can use some loyalty points like that. They are well organized. That's why a lot of like supermarkets are more successful. They are using more promotions and like more encouragements and using like sometimes credit card discounts and everything. So therefore a lot of people they love supermarket because of the wide variety they can have, and also it's very convenient. Another one is a department store. So what is department store? You can see like it's like menswear, nightwear, cosmetics, food, gift, children's clothing, like that. So if you can go to like a one large store and split into distinct selling department, we call it a department store. If you go to supermarket, we don't have such a percent, everything in one floor area. People can move here and there, but department store not like that. Especially we can see this kind of a stores in shopping malls. So sometimes people who are selling textile items, like that's why children's wear, men's wear, ladies wear, like that. So they have certain floors, dedicated floors for certain departments. Department means some kind of a market, like a segmentation. We talk about in marketing. It's like a segmentation based on gender or based on age. We can segment it like that. Department stores. So this can see good examples of these things we can found in city centers, for example, like a famous department stores, like Harrods. If you if you actually being in London, you can see the department store. Harrods is a good example. Or in Sri Lanka, if you see the House of Fashion is a good example, the fashion retailer, the department store. Odell is a good example with another department store, like that. So another variant, like another feature of this retail is a multiple chain stores or multiple or chain store situation. This case, they are normally they are branching out same product range and they are selling all over the country or region by developing chain stores. A good example you can see like restaurant chains, hotel chains, some gyms. They have some kind of a chain of like networks, mainly chains, like chain stores. This where no owner opens multiple stores selling the same range of products in many different locations. Like restaurant chain, you can see in like Sri Lanka, like Pere and Sons, Susiko Bakers, like that. So you can see everywhere there are some outlets, but every outlet the colors look like same. The staff uniforms look same. The product range they are selling same. The price range they are selling same. Like that. In many different locations they are selling. So each store in the chain look very much the same and be under the control of the central office. Stores are usually have standardized product range, pricing strategy, store fronts, store layout, staff uniform, staff training, everything they are similar. So it's called multiple chain store. This is also another way of retailing. People can get the brand recognition there, and then people they know the product are quite standardized and the price range, everything convenient. Another thing is a superstore hypermarket. Like most developed countries, you can see this kind of a superstore hypermarket concepts. Like this is like a collection of like a few about 5-6 supermarkets. You can see the size. We can see sometimes in superstore hypermarkets in like big cities like Dubai, Doha, Qatar, like that. So and these are very large stores, usually located in the outskirts of the towns and selling wide range of goods under one roof. Right? This sometimes like giant warehouse, like moving around inside, like it's like a city inside. So hypermarkets often approach of shopping without any non-essential services. Goods are not likely to be displayed attractively. So everything is there inside, like superstores or hypermarkets. So you can see a good example like shopping malls, or sometimes like the Colombo city center, something like inside. How many stores are there, right? Everything, the cinema, even think the restaurants, not one restaurant, multiple restaurants, and game zones. The same lot of places are there. The food courts are there, and then a lot of areas are there, amenities. So superstores, that's a very good example. So it's a hypermarket approach, shopping without any non-essential services. Goods are not like to be displayed, everything. So it's generally prices also generally sometimes cheaper than supermarkets and have wide product range. The wide product range is the ideology. Other thing is a small one, kiosk like that, like a street vendors, like basically you can see it's like a small shop like nearby, like selling like small, like, but this to be like a small, like a shop selling popcorn and hot dogs, kiosk and street vendors. Every like a near bus stations, railway stations, in cinemas, you can see these small shops are there. Small shops, like very small shops selling small item like this popcorn and all. These are very small outlets selling limited range of goods, and they may be found in airports, bus and train stations, and even in cinema. And many of them selling fast food, confectionery, newspapers, and limited range of clothes, perhaps. They generally operate in low setup cost and minimal overheads, but this depends on the location. For example, renting location inside a major airport would actually be quite expensive. Right. Other one is a market trader. Market trader also we are using that mainly from all the markets. Common retailer called market trader inside the market, like it's like a complex or other market. They always call the town centers. Like they have some all these market traders. They have a permanent location. We call brick and mortar stores. They have the stores they have maintaining. So market traders sometimes they are paying rent for the place. And these are very convenient locations. We can see large foot traffic, like a lot of customers are moving here and there always in the market. That's why these places are really congested and very, we can't sometimes, we can arrange parking slots, like common parking slots. So these are usually small time in business selling goods and market stalls. They are common in many parts of the world, and they are low overheads and often cheaper than other retailers. Some market traders move from one market to another and set up a stall each time they relocate. However, in other markets such as soak and market traders maybe sell their goods from the same permanent located, like I told you, brick and mortar stores, permanent located stores they have. And the last type of retailer is online retailer, Amazon, eBay, and AliExpress. All these companies actually online retailers, large online retailers, and making large amount of money because this century, this decade, online retailing was very popular, especially because of this pandemic case, because people can't move. So there are a lot of people actually order everything online. So you pay online using your credit card or debit card, and then you order everything online, manufacture and sell them online to customers. Okay, now we're moving into the third part of this lesson, the e-tailing or e-commerce. E-commerce or e-tailing, the definition is really important. So definition of e-commerce is use electronic system to sell goods and services. Sometimes some students are use internet to sell goods and services. That also counting as a correct definition. Electronic system means it can be internet, because internet is electronic system. So so that's definition you have to memorize. What is e-commerce or e-tailing? E-tailing, e-commerce, both same. Use electronic system, or you can say internet, using internet to buy and sell goods and services. So this is very like a modern concept, e-commerce. So you should know basically what is the good and bad of this concept, because e-commerce always in most of the examinations these terms are being tested always. And there are certain types of e-commerce website. You can see B2C websites and B2B websites, business to consumer website. You can see business to consumers is the most popular. Like Amazon is a business to consumers that we can reach. AliExpress is like another thing. eBay is another thing. Selling goods by business to consumers. So these things are very popular. Click and collect services in even because of this, I think Sri Lanka, even Asian countries. So there are a lot of local retailers are there. They set up their own websites so people can click and collect. So sometimes they are using some third-party websites such as Uber, like restaurants. All the restaurants they have registered under Uber Eats or Pick Me Food or something. So there are different apps are there being created, or you can see like in UK it's called Argos, like there's a vegetable and fruits retailers like that, especially Amazon in USA and all around the world, in India, everywhere they are using these business websites. So what they are selling, so example B2C, example business to consumer, they are selling tickets sometimes for air tickets, railway tickets, and coach travels, and tickets for sports events sometimes. Can be cricket, rugby, cinemas, theaters, and theme parks such as Alton Towers in the UK, and holidays sometimes, weekend breaks and hotel rooms, and also access to online audio and film broadcast, wide range of goods and on eBay and other auction sites. What is auction site? Auction sites mean like you can see some eBay, and there are so many other things. Like we can say the like a price. Like a range. For example, say it's a hotel like a Trivago. We can see the price ranges. We can see always. We can compare price comparison websites are there, like which supports our decisions always. And agent or brokers, intermediate that brings together buyers and sellers. Like Sri Lanka, also we have some called Ikman.lk, something like the property selling, real estate, motor vehicles. People who are looking for a motor vehicle or a property or a rent a house or something, we can easily go to this website and you can see, right? So there are particular websites that are there like that. So sometimes in job market, there are like job websites are there. People who are unemployed, or people looking for a job, people who wanted to actually recruit someone. There are some job markets also. There are online job markets are there, so you can go through and see. And also financial services such as banking and insurance. Yes, there are online banking. Sometimes banks on websites are there, apps they created, especially insurance companies and banks, they're providing these things. I think very convenient for them. Overhead costs can be reduced, everything. So that's B2C concept. Most like about say 90% of the internet is actually B2C, business to consumers. Okay, the next variant of the e-commerce is a B2B, B2B, business to business websites. For us, I think we have minimum experience of this website, but normally if you are a businessman, if you wanted to purchase something, or if you want to sell your items to like industrial items to some foreign party, you can open up a website and you can take orders online. So these are business to business. For example, let's say you're exporting cinnamon, you're exporting some, some industrial oils. So if you're exporting some kind of a even like fish, or like the tin fish or something. So business to business, you can contact like a suppliers. There are millions of suppliers are there, and customers all around the world, like scattered everywhere in internet. So you have to sort it out. The business to business, we can contact everything, the contact address, everything. You can purchase everything from online. Even the water bottle, we say if you want to, you have a business of water bottle supplier. So if you want to find out some buyer, bulk, so you're dealing with the not only like a one bottle, two bottle, sometimes you're dealing with like a one container, minimum order, 3 containers like that, tons of items you are looking for. So this is the market. Business to business websites are there. In like past, actually there are normally like every year they actually organize like trade fairs to find business to business to make the contacts, like especially Canton Trade Fair in China is a very famous example for that. But because of this pandemic and everything, all this trade fair, the physical like meetups and everything they stop. But now everything will happen through the internet. So if you want to find out anything, so it at your fingertips. For example, if you want to find out the buyers, if you want to find a good buyer for the water bottle, you can see what the water bottle supplies you can find out in the market in a particular location. So it's a very good important thing. Business to business, they are mainly selling industrial items. Like sometimes the software helps to find the cheapest supplier and carries out all the paperwork. So we'll see what are the benefits of this. That's the most important thing. So these 2 tables are important. That is boxed also. So these things you should know at least two points. Benefits of consumers of online distribution. Benefits to consumers. One, consumer the benefit for us is actually cheaper because online retailers have lower cost than the brick and mortar stores. They don't have to pay electricity or rent or any, I think, security cost because it's online they operate. and we can shop 24/7 hours because website open always, but shops normally they close after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, sometimes 8 o'clock, they close and go. But website, we can order everywhere. Always, if at midnight in the early morning, you can, if you, whatever the time you wake up, you can actually order everything. It will reach sometimes, depend on country to country. If it is USA, it will reach their doorstep within 48 hours. But if it's Asian country, it will take at least 1 month, sometimes American website or something, UK. But there are some easy methods are there. Sometimes you can use the courier services. Sometimes you can within sometimes 1 week, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, depends actually. Can order sometimes. But always you can see like a food delivery or something. Always they are saying, okay, it's 30 minutes normally. Within 30 minutes we'll reach you order, because otherwise what happen? If food take long time, 48 hours to reach, then no appetite, anything. So normally food and stuff, like sometimes Domino's and everything, they always printed 30 minutes or free. Within 30 minutes, they're bound to actually distribute to their doorstep, or otherwise they're giving free of charge. And there's generally huge amount of choice, and people can shop from anywhere and they have access to the internet. That's the thing. So on the other hand, however, you can see the disadvantages. So people don't have internet access, and so they cannot use this facility. Even Sri Lanka also, you can see like developing country like us. So you can see even for education, sometimes some student has to reach. So find out signal towers. Some rural area they don't have enough internet Wi-Fi facilities. So these things have to consider. Normally, as a developing country, always government has to make sure that everyone have the requirements and infrastructure for the everything. So online, everything, not only distribution, even online education like this. Always we need the internet facility, access to internet, and access to components like laptops and devices are really important. Business to business, benefit to business of online distribution. If you are a businessman, these are the benefits of a business perspective. Etailer may not have to meet the cost of operating stores. You got no brick and mortar stores, and low startup cost, because both fixed and variable costs are lower, and lower cost when processing transactions, right? And when you're processing transactions, is very low cost because there is no need to have a cashier. You can no receipt printing, nothing. So many systems are automated. That's why, and less paper is needed for documents such as invoices, receipts. So I think this online digitalization is always help for this environment, because paper selling, you can see it's reduced because no need to print something, because always when we just open physical school or something, you can see how many handouts they are printing and giving, right, for you. But you can see now about 2 years, right, we are always sending you the handouts and documents via online format, like soft copies. So you can, if you have a printer at home, you can take a printout and you can file it. Otherwise, you can refer it like every note. So there's a like a cost saving is there for the organization in that perspective. Also, environment also, you can reduce the number of deforestation for the paper cuts, everything. So, and also payment can be made and received online using credit cards or online payment systems. And B2C, business to consumer business, can offer goods to a much wider market. For example, like global market, they also can serve their customers 24/7 hours, and business have more choice when locating their operations. So for example, it's globally, so you can open up that, there is no boundaries. So anyone in anywhere in the world, they can connect. For example, like it's online, because there is no geographical boundaries. So no traveling times, no traffic, no congestion, these things. But the problem here is because every order you have to make a delivery. So that delivery cost will be high. That's a disadvantage on us, because sometimes if it's like a small item, you have to send it to the customer doorstep. So packaging cost is there, and delivery charges. With small delivery, you have to pay for the delivery charges. So sometimes the transportation cost is still there, right? So even people are not moving, but delivery vehicles always moving. But I think if this carpooling method, if they're using, that's fine, right? So despite that's why always when you are reading a concept, children, so always keep in mind, with the advantages, you have to know the disadvantages and drawbacks also. Okay, what are the drawbacks of this concept? There are certain disadvantages, because this question can be come for a even a 12-mark question or a 6-mark question, like analyze question. Therefore, you should know what are the main advantages as well as disadvantages also. Basically, organizations also facing some difficulties, customers also facing some difficulty. What are them? Business will face increasing competition since selling online is a relatively cheap method of distribution. So increased competition is there because everyone now start selling online because no one can control it, right? So consequently, business will face more competition from overseas. Yes, like if you think about local stores, you can't compete with like a large, well-organized, retailers like Amazon. And second one, there is a lack of human contact. Human contact is lack, which means like which might not suit for some customers. There is heavy dependence on delivery. Some like some people like people who actually like sometimes visually challenging people, sometimes physically challenging people. Sometimes they cannot actually like computer literacy is important for everyone. To sometimes not only computer literacy, sometimes language. The importance of knowing the English language, and sometimes these are really important. So if someone have these challenges, they don't know actually what to do. They don't know how to operate these devices, or sometimes this thing can be make some barrier to those like a minority parties in the society. Think about that also, because this is not 100% perfect method. This is not 100% perfect. Like a solution for everyone. So because there are some parties who actually find difficult with these things, challenges with competition and lack of human, because always those people like to have the human contact. Sometimes people who want to go to shop and if they order something, the people will select that item and give it to them. That's the best thing. But some people, they don't know how to select. They don't have that capacity. So think about them, disabled people or something. And there may be technical problems online. I always told you the website can be crash, signal problems, sometimes power failures in the middle of a transaction. Imagine, right, the site may be affected by malware and internet connections can go down. So you can see always these things are there, like always dealing with the online transaction. These problems you have to face. And there's a security risk of computer hackers and might gain access to sensitive information, your profile, and then your sensitive information. They can access to your website, and then sometimes payments, everything they can manipulate. So there's always risk, or their danger is out there always, right? This problem from coming from the data hackers is always there. Security risk must be taken, like some kind of a password protection or something. And other thing, consumers cannot touch or look at the goods before purchase, and people may have problems taking delivery of goods if they are out. Yeah, that sometimes you can see visible that items in the website, but sometimes you can't touch. But if you go to a supermarket physically, you can everything, you can take it to your hand and you can find out whether it's okay in the what is expired, everything. But this case you can't do that. Only you can look at the picture and you can add that item to your shopping cart. That's what you can do. Another thing, customers may experience poor after sale services. Yeah, sometimes sometimes some items might be you can see that these days a lot of people facing this problem. Sometimes the amount of items you have ordered is not, everything is not there. Sometimes it took like more than like a usual time. Sometimes you have to wait long time, lead times, until the order delivered to your doorstep. These things. And customers without internet access and credit cards may be excluded. That's another problem, right? Some, because everyone, we don't have internet, because we can't because everything, like developed countries, I'm not talking developing countries specifically, like Asia and Africa, and these some countries, internet access is sometimes challenging. Even if you have internet, it's only on city centers. In rural areas, you don't have. With mountains, you have to climb up the top of the mountain to get the signal towers. These things are there actually. If someone actually listening this from a developed country, a person from UK or a Europe country, these problems are there in Asian countries, right? Sometimes you might be never heard about these things, right? If you are listening from there, you can see these problems we are facing as a developing countries. So customers, there are a lot of customers without internet access, without credit cards. So these problems are still there. Therefore, that's why I told you this method is not a perfect 100% perfect method. So, but still, it's okay with about 80%. So, always you have to use that theorem 80-20 model. So, if 80% people accept it, I think that's the best solution for everyone. And other thing, fake traders may be more difficult to identify online. Yes, there are people who are making money. Like, there are some third parties, like they call like drop shipping methods. They call it drop ship in the technical term. Sometimes within the website, they are selling some other third party items by keeping a small profit margin. So actually, literally, they don't have any stocks, but what they do, they use as intermediary. Even website, they're using an intermediary service. Like that, some people, fake traders are there, and sometimes only they are doing is take your money, and sometimes you, like a lot of we call scammers. Scamming problems are there. A lot of people come up with like a nice offers, like there's sometimes some people selling iPhones online for a very cheap prices. A lot of people they are thinking, it's a very good offer, and they are losing out their money. These kind of problems are reported long time ago, like from since like the internet comes. So in every country, these problems are there. A lot of like a scammers are there. They are very really smart. They're coming with like a fake profiles, but looks actually very trustworthy websites. But at the end, what they do, they collect money from everyone and they vanish. That's what they do. These kind of problems are there. So mainly today in our lessons, what we mainly talk about is the main retailers and type of retailers, and then we talk about the place mix, and then we talk about the distribution channels which we can contact the producer to the consumer, to retailer, wholesaler, agent, and everything. And we talk about type of retailing, including the independent supermarkets, department stores, multiple chain stores, superstores, hypermarkets, and everything. And also, we find out mainly e-commerce. E-commerce, we talk about using electronic system or internet to sell goods and services. We talk about two types of e-commerce: B2C and B2B, business to consumer and business to business concept. And we talk about finally their respective advantages and disadvantages also. So you should know these things mainly. What are the good side and the bad side for customers and the business? There are a lot of advantages, and there are common disadvantages like hackers and fake traders. And I think these things we can control. I think because every disadvantage out there, we have a solution for everything. That's why when you're writing a 12 marker for a e-commerce, like evaluate the importance of the e-commerce for a business or risk, whatever the case study. So you should write that two advantages and definition of e-commerce, two advantages of e-commerce, two disadvantages of e-commerce, as well as a conclusion. So you can always say the advantage outweigh the disadvantages. Therefore, e-commerce is a super concept actually, that everyone actually, because nobody want to actually go out, because if you have one thing, your internet and the device, you can order everything online to your doorsteps if you have purchasing power. Yeah, from that, I think we are winding up our today's session. See you in next time with my other session that we are talking in Friday. Okay, then. Thank you.